All right, Tuesday, February 4th edition of the Carolina Weather Video. Matthew East here along with you. A big temperature change from where we were 24 hours ago. Look at all the colder air that's moved into the eastern parts of the country, specifically here across the Carolinas. A lot of us 15 to 20 or 25 degrees, even in some spots colder now than where we were during the 5 o'clock hour yesterday. And we now, across the typical cold air damming areas, have one of our wedge scenarios in play for today. Look at these numbers from yesterday. I tell you what, it was a really challenging temperature forecast yesterday, dealing with the timing of that backdoor cold front. Charlotte managed to hit 72. It was 72 for a high in Columbia, 75 in Fayetteville. And you had temperatures yesterday afternoon in the Triad in the 40s, but 70s around Charlotte as that front was making its way gradually further to the south. Now here's our current temperatures, about 5:30 this morning. 30s, Greensboro and Raleigh, Fayetteville. I should say Raleigh, Greenville, and Elizabeth City. 40s for Charlotte and Fayetteville over toward Wilmington. 48 down in Columbia. The radar pretty quiet now, but look what's happening off to the south of us. Some rain beginning to develop through Georgia and South Carolina. That is a sign of things to come later today. Here's the setup. Low pressure taking shape over Louisiana. High pressure over the northeast. That high pressure is what's set up our wedge for today, and as that low pressure lifts northeast, we get moisture getting lifted up and over the wedge, and eventually rain will arrive. Here's what it looks like on Futurecast. You can see that rain spreading in with time this afternoon, and then rain with us at times as we go on through the night. Here's your surface map, that low pressure racing to the northeast, and there's your snow spreading through parts of the plains in the Midwest. Now tomorrow morning, that wedge is still holding on over a good chunk of the Piedmont, so I really don't think temperatures in many foothill or Piedmont locations move a great deal through the night. But we should see some clearing in the afternoon behind that front, and a little bit of a delay with the cold air behind the front, so we will probably have a fairly mild afternoon tomorrow before the chillier weather settles in for tomorrow night and into Thursday. Now, just very quickly, rain amounts today and tonight. Not a huge rain event, but we might have some 1/2 inch totals in some spots. Notice Wilmington getting over an inch on Futurecast. That might be a bit overdone, but some of us getting a decent little rain out of this today and on into tonight. Now, on to what's ahead for the weekend. All right, I got to tell you, I have even less confidence today with the weekend forecast than I did yesterday. The models just continue to really struggle to resolve the details over the weekend in a very active flow pattern. Now let me show you the latest European model. Rather, this is up at 500 millibars. This is our disturbance driving our cold front eastward tomorrow. But let's go out to the weekend. This is Friday evening. Okay, and there's your energy out west. It looks much different than it did with most of the runs yesterday. In fact, let's go back and grab the 12Z run from yesterday off the European. We're looking at the same time frame. So there's yesterday's daytime European run, and here's the most recent one, much different with the handling of that energy out west. And then the result is that Sunday across the region at the surface. Here's what it looks like for us. This is Saturday. You get one little wave of low pressure on the European moving through, bringing some rain. And then on Sunday morning, coastal low is there. And that's some mountain snow that then tries to slowly pivot through, but most spots east of the mountains wouldn't get any snow out of that scenario. Okay, now let's go to the GFS. Now this is the 0Z run. Compare that with the big 0Z run yesterday that had that big Miller-A low pressure with a huge winter storm. Now this is Saturday evening, and then there's again the run from yesterday. Just much different. You're getting much more digging on those previous runs with that southern branch piece of energy. And it's just totally different with how that energy out west is entering the lower 48 on the most recent model runs. Now this is what it looks like at the surface on the GFS. This is again the 0Z run where you had low pressure, actually a couple of them near the coast, and that's a quick rain changing to snow scenario in some locations of the Carolinas Sunday night, and then that turns into a big winter storm for even the big cities of I-95 on the 0Z run of the GFS. Now the most recent GFS run is in, and I'll show you a few panels from that. This is Sunday afternoon, early afternoon. That's rain in most Carolina locations, kicking over to snow in the mountains, and then that low pressure really begins to take over near Elizabeth City. It's kind of cold chasing moisture there from much of the area east of the mountains. And then that turns into a big winter storm again over parts of the Northeast. Now let's compare this with the ensembles. There's the GFS ensemble mean for Sunday morning. And it is a good deal quicker than what the operational 0Z GFS had. And there is the European ensemble mean. That is valid in 132 hours. Compare that with the operational chart, and it's really, in terms of the placement of the low, pretty similar. But there's still tons of details to iron out. Here's what the folks at the WPC are going with for their preliminary graphic. This is Sunday morning. It's still kind of a broad double-barreled low, and it is just an extremely low confidence forecast for the weekend. Let me show you the Canadian very quickly. That's what it looks like Saturday evening. So the timing is all over the place. You have some models 24 hours quicker than the others. And it really just, let me go back to this chart right here. It all just has to do with the timing and the handling of this energy from out west. There you go. There's the most recent European. And it just kind of depends on how these pieces of vorticity interact with one another, whether or not we can get any confluence here over the Northeast to make us have a cold air damming scenario. It's just really more questions than answers. This is a very complex setup. It's going to take us a couple more days to get a handle on exactly what might happen over the weekend. All right, that is it for today's edition of the video. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful Tuesday, and God bless.